Should sustainable plastics and sustainable medical devices cost more? That is the question I'm trying to answer, and I'm trying to debunk a little bit the green premium. Because everybody knows sustainability comes with a price currently. But the question is, should it? And in this video, we're going to explore where that is fair and where that is debatable, I would say, and where there are systematic errors. Because I just recently attended the Medica and I had a discussion, and during that discussion, I just uttered a systematic error. And then it was just clear to me that there is one thing that the plastic industry is currently doing that is completely a systematic error in my book. And then in the end, what's probably most interesting to you guys is how should I go about pricing my new sustainable medical device? And that is at the end. So let's get into it. Why are sustainable plastics more expensive? Let's start with the fair part. So some feedstocks, especially bio-based or recycled feedstocks, they are currently more expensive. That is due to high energy consumption, difficult processes that need to be made. And secondly, it's also the process maturity. So what I always say is the fossil industry or the petrochemical industry, they have 100 years advantage. They had 100 years to cut cost, to build plants at scale that are unimaginably efficient and that are completely optimized, have a supply chain that is completely integrated. So they have a big advantage that is temporary. So sustainable plastics, I would say, they're developed like 30, 40 years ago, some of them, but they haven't seen the scale that fossil has. And that is certainly a disadvantage that the sustainable plastics currently have. That is a temporary thing. It's not a law of nature. And I don't think that there are laws of nature really speaking against having them be on cost parity or cheaper even, because there are many, many very interesting technologies down the line that need to be developed, that need to be scaled, of course, that have a lot of potential in disrupting the fossil market. So it's the economy of scale, basically. It's feedstock cost and its process maturity. Those are fair reasons why a sustainable plastic is currently more expensive. Then there are some things that I would say are more debatable. So number one is what I heard someone say is like, we invested millions. In this case, it was a chemical recycling plant. And we will never sell this at the same price as virgin because we need to make a return. Because why would my investors give me money in order to just earn as much as fossil plastics does? So in my opinion, it's a debatable claim. I understand if you are a stockholder, you want to see a return on your money. And that is, I would say, partially fair. However, I don't think that it's a good long-term strategy because the high sustainability premiums are currently the one thing that is stopping the adoption of sustainable plastics. Because why should I buy a recycled resin that is costing me €2.30 a kilo? So €2.30 a kilo when I can get virgin for $1.50. Why should I pay 80 cents on the kilo for less quality? And that is just a very, very tough nut to crack. And in my opinion, if I run it through our great match framework, I usually get to the conclusion that such a premium is not justifiable because you also have to account for the opportunity cost, because I could be spending the money elsewhere to get other ecological gains, so to say. You'll always have to see at the opportunity cost of this investment. And then there's the second thing is virgin is too cheap. Is virgin too cheap, and why is virgin so cheap? It's, I say, a matter of capacity and subsidized capacity, especially coming from the Chinese market. So the Chinese government is heavily investing into materials capacity in China themselves. And there's also other fossil subsidies that go into the fossil industry, making them extremely competitive. And since the Chinese resins are flushing the European market, that is also very much putting them under pressure to lower their prices. And sustainable plastics just have a different pricing mechanism. And some of them have and some of them haven't. And that is the third thing I want to bring up. And this is the systematic error I discovered. So there are, I'd say, recycled plastics. There are bio-based physical content plastics. And there is mass balance ISCC plus premium plastics. And the plastics industry is kind of using this as an industry standard to just switch over their current grades to more sustainable feedstocks, give you sustainability advantages such as the CO2 saving and the bio-based content. However, they're running it on their own plants, and this is why they want to do it, because the petrochemical plants, they cost a lot of money and they cost a lot of time to build. Therefore, they want to keep them. They're also like investment assets that they need to like take advantage of. But what are they currently doing with ISCC Plus premium pricing? Let's look into this. So how they currently price this is, you may or may not know that, but a plastic resin usually, let's take polypropylene because in this example, it's really the case. So what they do is they have the monomer, which is in this graph, we are having this as the blue portion. That is the monomer, and that is variable. That is usually coupled to oil. So in the case of polypropylene, this is so-called C3. So propylene, also called C3 because it has 3 carbon atoms in there. And that is the price of the monomer. And that goes up and down every month, meaning your polymer prices go up and down every month. And then there's the production cost plus premium. So usually what they're pricing you as is C3 plus a fixed. So it's C3 plus 600 euros or C3 plus 800 euros. That is what they will price the polymer as. So if you have polypropylene, it's the monomer plus a fixed production cost where they have their production cost plus their margin in there. And then what they're going to do is with an ISCC plus bio-based or biocircular, whatever, grade, is they will use the same formula. So price of fossil virgin, and then they put a green premium on top. And if you're not already spotted where the issue is here is the price of fossil feedstock is in there. So if you're buying a mass balanced ISCC plus biocircular feedstock grade, it's still coupled to fossil. So what happens is oil goes down, bio-based goes down. That is a systematic error. So if the oil is priced lower, the price of your ISCC plus mass balanced grade gets lower because this portion, the monomer of the virgin price, goes down. And what happens if oil goes up? So for some reason, let's say a regulation is passed and oil gets a penalty or gets a CO2 tax or whatever. What will happen is the price of virgin will go up and the price of virgin will push also the ISCC plus mass balanced biocircular price up. And that is just like a systematic error. So how should we go about this? Well, it's very easy. How ISCC plus grades should be priced is, in case of fossil, you have the monomer, and then you have a fixed production cost, as they're currently priced. No issue with that. However, the ISCC plus grades, they should be priced as the ISCC plus feedstock price, which is variable because it's coupled to the feedstock price. That should go up and down with the feedstock price. And then you have the fixed production cost, which is the same, or if they are having, in case of physical content, they can also adjust this to reflect the higher production cost. But it shouldn't be coupled to fossil. That is my whole point. So if you increase the fossil feedstock price artificially via regulation, for example, or just oil gets more expensive, then it doesn't affect the bio-based, mass balanced bio-based feedstock price. And like this, you can even enable the decoupling of these two feedstocks because right now they're just moving the same and we need to decouple them. And if they are decoupled, there's even the possibility of the bio-based being cheaper than fossil. It's currently not, and it will probably not be for a few years, but currently it's systematically not even possible to get lower. And that is my whole point. So now as we talked about how plastics are priced, how should you then price your medical devices? So what is about the green premium for a medical device? And I hate to break it to you. I'd love for it to be different, but green premiums rarely work. So the changeover cost in medical is huge. It's difficult to get a medical product changed, and any sticking point, and the price is a very huge sticking point, needs to be eliminated in order to facilitate the switchover. So what I've seen in the past for many, many times is sustainable materials, sustainable medical devices are launched with a premium, and then they were dropped later. So I have multiple examples of this. They start with a 20, 30% premium, and they'll drop it to probably 0 to 5%. And that is probably the range that you will be looking at. That is not what you want to hear, but it's the reality currently. So when performance and price of a medical device are equal, the sustainability comes in as a tiebreaker. So like I can get it as cheap and as performing as from another supplier, but that one is not sustainable and you are sustainable. You will really, really have a big advantage here. So you're usually drawn towards the sustainable option if everything else is equal. So sustainability is the lever not for the premium, not for the profitability, but for the market share. It will let you win more tenders. It will let you win more deals with your medical product and push out your competition because they're not ahead of the curve in terms of having a green, sustainable product on the market. And as I always say, sustainability is not only about the ecology. It's about the ecology, it's about the economy, and it's about the patient benefit. And if you have the economy and the patient benefit on your side, the sustainability is going to win you the race. And this is how it works. Is there anything we can do about it? Yes, there is, because higher material cost can be compensated either by design. So sustainable plastic selection should go ahead and go hand in hand with eco-design principles because those can save you money and environmental footprint. And then it can also be compensated through market share, meaning if you're getting more volume, your margin is maybe a little less, but you can have more market share and in the end earn more money with it. Your profitability may go down in the percentage-wise, but your profit overall as a company can go up. So that is basically the playbook for the green premium. So don't have a green premium. We'll push out the competition out of the market with our green products. This is what I've seen working on the market. This is not like my personal opinion, it's what I see on the market. Those products who are sustainable and successful, they don't have a premium. And you may not like to hear it, but it's what it is. Cool. So in summary, some cost drivers for sustainable plastics are legit, but they're temporary and not laws of nature. And the ISCC Plus model especially is rigged. And if you're in the plastic industry and can do something about this, please educate me on why this is not possible, because I may be ignorant and I may just be ranting here and be completely off, but I don't see how. So if you can educate me on how I'm wrong, please do that. If not, change the system, because I think you should decouple bio from fossil, even if it's made in the same reactor, but the pricing mechanisms should be different. Because that's always also good for you, because you actually can charge what the material is worth. Then for medical devices, I put it in a very, very easy framework. Performance is king, price is queen, and then sustainability is the tiebreaker. So if you have king and queen in place, the crown jewels is going to be sustainability, and that is going to make the difference of you like getting on the throne or not of your medical market, so to say. So if you want to be a MedTech company who is a leader in sustainable medical devices and want to design your devices for more sustainability, there's a link in the description for you. You can click that. There's a video who shows you how to do it. And thank you very much that you watched the video. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe, because YouTube really likes those things and will show you more videos like this. And if you have a question or a video request, write those in the comments too, because I read all the comments and I try to make videos that you find valuable. So, thank you very much for watching and have a very good one.